We really drive home. We've got 4 things that we drive home with our athletes. One of them is effort. We want to give that they give maximum effort at all times. That's the number one thing that we talk to them about is effort. Enthusiasm. We want to make sure they're enthusiastic. We don't want them dragging around, head down. If they're having a bad day, we understand that, but we just don't ever want to see it. Love is something that's big. It's caring about your situation, where you're at, the job you have, the situation, the teammates, the people around you, and toughness. And not toughness as in physical toughness. Toughness as in mental toughness, as in we kind of lump that together with accountability. That you are able to do your job and you are able to be accountable at all times.
There's lots of things. First they got to be a good person. Good student. In the classroom, reliable, punctual. We always say if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. So we want to be there on time. Someone that's going to be a great teammate. We stress that in practice every single day, being a great teammate, and just someone that's a good leader and a positive person to be around.
Dependability, strong or hardworking, personable. Experience is always a plus. It's not necessary, but it's, if they have it, that's beneficial.
One of the big things is clean cut. Fairway has a pretty strict policy on hair and makeup and jewelry and all that stuff. And then we also look for kids that are outgoing, have decent work ethic. We also look for kids that are in sports. I like kids that are in sports. They kind of have a little better work ethic sometimes. So I look for
someone that's involved at school, other than just school, like track, football, speech class is good. Also, that is not afraid to be outgoing and speak to people is the biggest thing that we need. Is people that are outgoing, let's say.
I'd say it'd be back to the toughness, accountability thing. Because what we're doing is with the accountability part of it in the off season, we want to see who's going to be there because we're constantly evaluating people and seeing what kind of skills that they possess. And if they're not there, we can't evaluate them. And then if they're not there to evaluate, we also, it's hard to trust that person will be able to do that particular job. And then when the season rolls around, the accountability factor is we're gonna have you do a certain job. We're gonna ask you to do a certain job, and we need to know that you can do it, and we need to trust that you can do it because we have kids that have talent, but they don't necessarily see the field because they are not accountable. They can't do it over and over and gain our trust. So if you can be accountable, that's probably one of the biggest things that we have in season, out of season.
I think just like determination, having that hard work and determination. If you have that, I think you can get through anything.
I would say communication, strong communication skills is important in working with the public.
Outgoing. We need somebody that's friendly and loves to be able to talk to people.
Not be too shy. We need people that are outgoing and are not afraid to speak when spoken to and can answer in a polite and courteous way.
Work ethic's really important to us. I think that's something that I say that as far as our coaching staff talks about, this is something that we really emphasize it. If you were to sit there and we ask some of our seniors that graduate, what's the number one thing that you learn from the program is that you got to work hard because we're going to put you in situations where you need to, build your body. You need to, be a better teammate. You need to be more mentally tough. You need to, all these things we want you to do. And that work ethic, if you have that work ethic, that is going to mature you a little quicker in the body, and then in your emotions and everything like that. So we really need people that are willing to work. And those people that are willing to work, they're going to pass those that are just relying on talent alone because eventually that talent kind of gets swallowed up by those people that are just going to outwork.
I expect great work ethic. I mean, it's hard to be successful if you don't have that hard work ethic. So, being able to do things not only in practice but outside of practice on your own is an important skill to have in basketball, all sports, in life. So.
Strong work ethic. I think the ability for them to, or the if they can work, come in early, work late, and if need be, and they don't have an issue with that, that's also beneficial.
It's fast paced at times, so we need somebody that's going to be able to work fast. There's also times that we're not, so it's a little different. But we need somebody that can, when we have a time that we need to pick it up, then we can. So look for somebody that's got a strong work ethic. Like I said before, kids in sports seem to have a little stronger work ethic than others, and so that's kind of what we look for.
I need somebody that can be here when they're scheduled. To be honest with you, we've had very, very few problems here at Fizz with the school kids coming to work. Very few absences with the high school kids. More problems with adults than I do really with the high school kids.
Collaboration is important because there's no sport that you do it alone. Even if you go and you think about all the sports, obviously in football, from my end of it, you've got to block a certain amount of people in order for the running back to get through the hole or anything like that, or a bunch of guys have to fill the right gap on defense, otherwise the other team's going to score. I think that's pretty obvious for a lot of people, but even when you go to wrestling, which everybody thinks, well, that's a one-on-one sport. Well, that particular athlete has to have somebody in the room with them to compete against to get better, because if they're wrestling against somebody that's smaller than them or not better than them or something that they dominate all the time, eventually they're going to lose. They need to have somebody that's going to push them and make them better. So they have to be able to work with others, otherwise they're never going to get anywhere. And I feel like that's the same again in sports, and I feel like that goes forward in life. You're going to have people around you that you might not necessarily get along with, but you've got to learn how to work with them in order for things to go right, because everybody brings something different to the table.
That's huge. Just being a great teammate, like I said earlier, is important, and having that teamwork and being able to get along with other people is super important to be successful.
It's very important for them to be able to collaborate. Not always do we work together on a project or something like that, but it's very important them to be able to work together, because they're all in the same area all day long, so they need to be able to collaborate on some stuff.
We got to get along. We got to be able to work together. It's kind of a team back there, so if you not willing to take orders from somebody else or work beside somebody, it's really hard. So we want people that are going to be able to get along and going to be able to work as a team.
They need to get along with their other employees, that's for sure. I mean, if they can't mesh and work well together and work a task out together, then it just doesn't work.
We expect the same we really emphasize, we want you to be doing the right things on the field and off the field, because I don't believe that you can think that you're going to really dial it in during the season and then you're going to go off and kind of do things half speed in the off season and maybe be a little not accountable or anything like that. Say, well, I'm not going to be accountable in my class and my studies, but I'm going to do it on the football field on Friday night, and that never works. So we expect that things, if you do this all the time, all year round, what happens is it eventually becomes the character that you are, and you build on that by doing it, by making good decisions. When you're out of school, you're going to make better decisions on the field. When you make better decisions in the classroom, you're going to make better decisions on the field. The same way, if you make easy way out decisions, if you take the easy way out, you're probably going to take the easy way out on the field, and that happens.
Definitely in a first-class manner, whether they're in the classroom, on the floor, at a contest. We want them to represent Carlisle in a positive way, first-class manner. So that's going to be expected.
Professionally, working with the public, it's important for us to act and look professional. So it's professional is very
Fairway also has a strict policy about conduct in the best interest of Fairway, which means that you honor students, kids that are going to behave themselves in and out of Fairway, whether it's at school or Des Moines or wherever we're at. Fairway wants you to be a good character person, a good example.
In a polite manner. Hi, how are you? Thanks for coming. What can I get for you? That type of thing. Is there anything else I can help you with? And thanks for coming, and we hope you had a great time.